And welcome back to LinkedIn Logs, the jobs and business news podcast for the website cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Welcome back in. Here we are. This is episode 125. I'm recording a little bit earlier than I thought I was going to record. I do not want to get in too far into it. Okay. Here's the deal, and I will be as vague as possible. Sometimes, okay. If this is the second or third podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, this website, go there. However, the premier podcast is the Constitutionals. On the Constitutionals, I have special episodes where I interview people, big time celebrities. Craig Ferguson, Craig Robinson, other people not named Craig, Tiffany Haddish, Larry the Cable Guy, Jimmy Pardo, just Diallo Riddle. Why am I naming people from before I started doing video? And then I typically release, though unless I'm asked not to, which has happened twice. Like, oh, this needs to be audio. No, 3 times. It's happened 3 times. It needs to be audio only. But 4 times. It's happened 4 times. Stephanie Weir, India de Beaufort, Ryan Hansen. Oh, Julia Duffy. That's right. I forgot about that. And Eden Shearer. So anyway, so sometimes, though most of the time, the videos, the audio is turned into a video. They're video interviews, and I put them out under the interviews. So there's 2 avenues in order to get the interviews that I've done out into the world. Now, here's the thing. I sometimes have trouble scheduling. It's not based on me. I'm an open book. I go, these are the dates I have. I'm not doing it during the day. Not during the workday. I go, here's the dates. Here are the times. Please let me know how I can accommodate you. Because if anything, it's going to be a 20 to 30 minute conversation. There's one that only a couple of times has, and I mean truly a couple of times, has someone gotten the date wrong, or they've just or I've gotten the date wrong, or I've gotten the time wrong. For Helen Hong, I got the time wrong, and she had to have a conversation with me at 7:00 in the morning, her time. When I thought it was 10:00, her time, and 10:00 my time. No, she was on the West Coast. Ron Funches was, I assume, asleep or getting high. And he forgot, and and then his publicist and I managed to get him on the phone maybe 15 to 20 minutes or 30 minutes after we were supposed to talk. Who else? So there's been, so those are like a couple of incidents. There's, in May, I'm going to tell you how far back this goes. In May, a publicist reached out to me. I've had a prior. We've been in a business relationship for a very long time. So I know this person, and this is not their fault. They set up an interview with a client, and it had to be weeks in advance. The client did not show up to the first interview, and I go, fine, whatever. I'm not going to take it personally. And then the PR person reaches out to me. Hey, this didn't happen, right? We'll set something up in the future. Months go by. It's late July or something like that. I think it's late July. They reach out to me again. Hey, let's reschedule for, here are the dates that are available. I choose almost the closest possible date. And I go, let's do it at 3 p.m. I get an email around 2 today that says, making sure this is still on. Yes. I'm getting a lot of extraneous stuff, but yes. I sit down at 2:55. I'm listening to Yacht Rock Radio on Sirius XM. They have a Friday night show that's called Yacht Rock, and it's curated by a DJ that he and his friends, his DJ friends, they mix in yacht rock music to different beats, and I'm grooving, I'm enjoying it because I love Club Yacht Rock. 3 p.m. All right, at 2:59, I turn off the music, and everything's already plugged in. I have everything set up. I log into the interview. The person's not there. I go, I'll give it 5 minutes. Person's not there. I'll give it 5 more minutes. The person's not there. Prior to this interview, I believe on Thursday or Friday, I was looking at my calendar for the upcoming week, and I said, if this person does not show up, we're not talking to them again. This is not going to fracture the relationship I have with the PR person. I'm not taking it personally again. However, there's no possible way I'm going to sit down and talk to this person again. They seem talented. They seem very smart. They've built their own little community. Again, I'm no longer interested in having a conversation. But I don't want that to break the relationship, the business relationship I have with the PR person. Because I do think the PR person is a good person, and they're working very hard. But at this point, and you'll see right now, it is 21 minutes past when we were supposed to be having this conversation. But I still have the email open because I have, when they log into Zoom, I have Zoom, email me or whatever. It's just, and even at 2:59, I took a sip of the water from the old Hydro Flask here, and water spilled on a shirt that I was wearing prior to this, and I went, oh, I gotta go change my shirt. I ran in the room, came back out. I still was able to do this. So unfortunately, I'm not going to talk to that person, and I have no plans on doing so again. I'm not even entertaining setting up a thing. What I wanted to do was ignore the second email. Actually, I'm not kidding. There's like 15 emails in the thread. That's not a joke. I think there might be 15 or so. And that was all just setting things up the first time. And then the second time, we added on to the thread. Okay. Let's get to it. This comes from, I have a couple of stories I want to talk about. I moved off of the Constitutionals that originally were supposed to be there, but we celebrated the 13th birthday last week, and I just ended up talking about C+ comedy and Reacher and TV shows I was watching for like 40 minutes. So I'm doing them here because they are business. This comes from The Wrap. Oh, God, I don't want you to see what's... hold on. How do I make this bigger? Okay. Let's see. Hold on. Okay. This comes from The Wrap. It's written by AJ Katz. New York Magazine drops columnist Ross Barkan after internal review of sourcing and attribution. When you write for the news, when you make videos for the news, when you do anything for the news, it is important, no matter how big the corporation is or how small, it is important for you to post attribution. The biggest thing, the best piece of advice I can tell anybody when it comes to writing for the news, I'm trying to think, is it just the news, but also just writing in general? Source. If you're going to provide information, source. I would rather see 15 blue hyperlinks throughout your piece where you link to something as opposed to just you stating a fact, be it true or not, be it correct or not, and making people take it at face value. Ross Barkan was of 67 columns is no small feat. So I'll say he's a storied writer at New York Magazine. Storied usually means like he's been there for a very long time, but he's been let go. Now apparently here's the crux of everything. This was an independent editorial review. New York Mag found that, and this comes from the publication itself. They told The Wrap this last Friday. New York found that Ross Barkan did not adhere to our editorial standards, and we have updated 67 columns that did not include proper attribution of language, information, and/or sourcing. Now, sourcing wasn't the only problem, but I'm telling you, source. Now, what they mention here with attribution of language and information essentially means that for attribution of language, he's taking what someone else said in their verbiage and their tone and basically writing it, which is plagiarism. They said that they determined that they will no longer publish his column. We regret that this work did not live up to our editorial standards and apologize to the writers whose work was not properly attributed. Now, this decision comes 3 months after Barkan was accused of repeatedly using language and reporting from other journalists without proper attribution, prompting the magazine to review his previous work. Now, that would be like if the best thing I can probably say about that, and the most clear thing I say about that, is if this piece that is written by AJ Katz at The Wrap, if I took exactly what he said, New York Magazine will no longer publish columnist Ross Barkan after an independent editorial review found 67 of his columns failed to meet the publication standards for proper attribution. If I took that and put it into context for me, like basically syntax for syntax, that is more or less a form of plagiarism. And I don't attribute it to The Wrap or AJ Katz in any form or fashion. That's more or less a form of plagiarism. If I was shooting this podcast right here, because this is on video, and I just read that paragraph without any context surrounding this piece, that would be, and because I made it look like my own, that would be a form of plagiarism. Barkan shared a statement with Semaphоре's Max Tanny. We've decided to end the column, and I send all my best to New York Magazine. That's so funny. In the course of nearly 250 pieces, it's like she broke up with me, but this is a mutual decision. I was sick of her anyway being beautiful and telling her she loved me. In the course of nearly 250 pieces, there were times I should have been more careful with citation. I'm sorry about these errors and will work to do better and more careful in the future. I am at a more considered pace writing a new column for The Nation. If anything, 67, you would have known, because at that point you get very used to just essentially copying and pasting. And then it's a thing that people did in high school. Which is, copy and paste something from whatever, and then changing words around and mixing things up. But you didn't write that. That wasn't your original thought. After 67, it is your fault. After 6, it's probably your fault. After 1, you can say, maybe, but if you keep doing it, the habit becomes what is it? What's the opposite? What's more than a habit? I don't know, but here's a great parody for Weird Al. More than a habit. Now, how could that be used for a weird? Because he doesn't make albums anymore. So it could be like a beat. It could be a tribute to the Bee Gees. More than a habit, but it's also a Sister Act parody. There you go. You're welcome. The controversy began in May when Washington Post reporter Drew Harwell pointed out similarities between the opening of one of his stories about conservative commentator Ben Shapiro and a column Barkan published days later. New York subsequently updated Barkan's piece to more clearly credit the Post reporting. Then NPR correspondent Bobby Allen did the same thing by material previously published by The Intercept and Compact Magazine. I've never heard of that. Whew. That's crazy, man. 67. That's so many. There's a guy for IGN who was caught just straight up plagiarizing pieces, reviews for video games. Well, I guess pieces too, because I don't think it was just reviews, but he was caught, and his name was like Philip something. But I remember that was big because, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, your job is to just play video games. So why are you copying everything? This is like the advancement of the internet has really introduced a form of cheating and laziness, that because that's what it's, cheating and it's also laziness, that is becoming and it has been rather as well, a giant problem for creative people. I think using AI to make your YouTube thumbnail or whatever, or make music for you, while that is a simple tool to help make your videos or your whatever you're doing, your art. I'm gonna say content, because if you're using AI, it's content. While that can make your content pop, it doesn't necessarily make it more interesting. Because whenever I come across, I like to use YouTube. I pay for YouTube Premium because I get YouTube Music for free, or vice versa. I guess I pay for YouTube Music, but I get YouTube Premium for free. It's all the same shit. But whenever I see, all I do is watch car reviews and some tech reviews and news things. Is that it? And some comedy stuff. I try not to. But anyway, because I don't want to get like Joe Rogan shit. I was on a dating app. and this is like within like the last day. I was on a dating app and I was looking at a profile and I was like, oh, she's cute. And oh, I like comedy. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I see a picture of the mothership in Austin, and that's Joe Rogan's thing. And I was like, no, thank you. I'm fine. Anyway, I always find that's a dangerous game to play when someone's like, I like comedy, because I don't tell people that I interview people in the comedy world, and because quite frankly, people have shitty taste. Anyway, okay, I don't want to get, because I will go off on a tangent. But I think I see a lot of AI videos on YouTube, or they're suggested to me, and I always say not interested, do not recommend channel. And then I listen to a podcast by Taskmaster alumnus shit. It's called Off Menu. It's Ed and this is embarrassing. Off Menu podcast. It's Ed Gamble and James Acaster. There's so much. I'm still mad. It's been 33 minutes. No email. But I listen to that podcast, and and Ed Gamble talks about how he's on Instagram all the time, and he loves watching AI videos of like giant fruit or something like that. And just think, I don't want to see AI anything. I don't want to see AI anything, period, at all. So it just fascinates me, and I'm sure that Ross Barkan, in his defense, may have felt crunch when it comes to work. And maybe he's just like using someone else's piece as a backstone or backstop or whatever, backbone for his thing, for his piece, and then just never changed anything. But 67 is a fucking lot, and it just fascinates me how people just never think past, is this going to mess up my paycheck? And that should be the question for everything, because you don't think that I want to see a movie on a Tuesday at noon, knowing that I don't have any meetings for 2 hours. You don't think I want to, at least, to the very least, take the laptop, ride my bike over to the movie theater, and watch a movie? No. The most I do is turn on the TV and watch golf. Although it is Tuesday, so today I was watching Always Sunny. New season. I turned down the volume, and okay. Anyway, okay, let's move on to the next story. This comes from Variety. It's written by Gene Mattis. If Paramount leaves California, it might cut costs, but wouldn't save on state taxes. The one of the headlines last week surrounding Paramount Skydance wanting to buy Warner Brothers Discovery is that David Ellison had it through a little hissy fit and said, if Attorney General Rob Bonta for California and all these other states go through with suing us and delaying this deal anymore, we're going to leave California and take our talents somewhere else. The issue with that is, sure, it's going to save the company Paramount Skydance, Warner Brothers Discovery, if the deal goes through, should the deal goes through, and apparently all the movie theaters are game for it. I just saw a headline that said AMC theaters and the other ones are all game for this deal to go through, which is ridiculous. And who else? I think the Directors Guild and the Producers Guild went ahead and said, go ahead, do it. Anyway, but if this deal goes through, they can take it, he says he wants to take it to, I think, like Texas or Utah, or I don't know, some shit, Arizona, I don't know. And just presumably rebuild all the studios wherever they take it, and then work cheaper from there. Now the threat came last Tuesday, so August 11th, and Paramount CEO David Ellison believes that the move would save the company $500 million a year in taxes, which I don't think that's true. Okay. Moving out of California, as Gene Mattis writes. See, that's how you attribute. That's why I always talk about who the writers are. And that's why I read with a similar cadence. I don't just say things. Because you will not catch me cheating. That's what I said to my wife. I'm kidding. All right. Moving out of California will not reduce the company's tax bill by anything close to that, according to experts and financial statements. For one thing, the company's state tax liability is far closer to zero than to $500 million. And for another, relocating its headquarters wouldn't actually change its tax bills. Where did they say they would move? Okay. So the potential savings apparently have nothing to do with the California tax policy and would not represent a loss to the state's coffers. Now, the jobs would leave the state. The state would lose personal income tax from those employees, but Paramount would likely have to retain a substantial workforce in the state to continue to do business in the film and TV industry. That's very interesting to know. Okay. Okay. What Paramount thinks is going to happen is it's an expectation of a generous, quote unquote, incentive package from whichever state it moves to. So let's say they move to Utah, and then Utah would be like, we'll give you $1 billion if you move and you start shooting your movies and TV shows here. So that would help with the bill. And then it may also be factoring in the proceeds from the potential sale of the Paramount lot, which they're trying to sell, they're trying to get rid of, which is likely worth a few $1 billion, as well as low overhead if it relocates to a state with substantially lower cost of living, which is why you see like Elon Musk, Tesla, and SpaceX and all that shit is based in Florida and Texas, because there's easy sustainability there. Skipping ahead. This is not going to help. Okay. Paramount Skydance apparently doesn't pay anything like $500 million in state taxes to begin with. Public companies are not required to report how much they pay each state, but they do report their overall state and local tax liability. There's the most recent annual report, Paramount Skydance and its predecessor Paramount Global got a net tax benefit, not a bill, of $11 million from state and local governments in 2025. That includes Pennsylvania, New York, California, New Jersey, Ohio, and Oregon. And then they also, it's the tax credits that let's say like New Jersey right now is a tax haven for these production studios because they're offering the best benefits and the most money for you to shoot. I can't think of something. Spider-Man Brand New Day there. I don't know if Spider-Man Brand New Day was shot in New Jersey. Hey, look. Is that Spider-Man? Is he fighting the Hulk over there? Oh, that's crazy. Okay, we won't go over the Hoboken Bridge. Look at me. And scene, that's improv. All right, do some zip, zap, zop. Okay. And then there's also the property tax that Paramount has on its studio lot. Right now, that's appraised at $331 million, which is a bargain compared to the value of a couple billion that I mentioned previously. And if the tax bill works out to about $6 million, then the annual bill, then they're doing pretty well. Then they'd have to pay a lot of taxes if they were able to sell the lot. Now, not to be outdone, this happened yesterday. This comes from the New York Times, written by Lauren Hirsch and Benjamin Mullen. Paramount asked states to shoulder costs of delaying Warner Brothers deal. If you remember, California and 12 other states are suing to delay the deal. A judge says we're going to delay the deal, and basically starting in September, of their own issue, what happened is Paramount said they were so headstrong about this, saying, "Listen, if this deal doesn't close by September date, then we'll pay you $7 million to shareholders of Warner Brothers Discovery. We're going to pay you $7 million per day." Now they're going to have to pay this what totals to for each quarter doesn't close. So for what they have to pay what totals to be $111 billion for the deal, and obviously Paramount does not have that money. They don't even have the money to pay for Warner Brothers Discovery. The studio is seeking a $1.88 billion bond from 12 states, led by California, along with the Writers Guild of America, which is also suing to stop this merger, which have sued to stop the company's deal to acquire Warner Bros. Discovery, citing antitrust concerns. Paramount proposes that it would collect the proceeds from the bond if the states lost their case. Okay. All right. There's a lot of recapping. This is just posturing to show that, to say that, hey, we're not going to stop fighting. We're going to go through every single inch of reasoning as to why we deserve Warner Brothers Discovery and why you should let this happen and why it's not antitrust and all these different reasons. But at this point, it really feels like the thing I can liken it to is if someone's going on trial for something and they say they plead not guilty. Pleading not guilty makes things it puts a little speed bump in the road, as opposed to saying, hey, I'm guilty, hoping that you get a lesser sentence or whatever is going to happen. I understand. I'm putting this in the most generalized words. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a judge. Although, in middle school, I believe, we took the career aptitude test, and mine said judge. And the first judge I could think of was Judge Philip Banks from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And I was like, I'm going to be a judge. No, I don't give a shit about this. About doing law stuff. Again, this is just a way for Paramount just trying to find any and every way in order to say that they don't want to pay these bills or incur any of these losses. Now, according to Eric Talley, a professor at Columbia Law School who specializes in corporate law and governance, private plaintiffs, this is a quote, are thought to have their own dog in the fight when it comes to pushing an alleged antitrust charge for their competitors. They would love to kneecap their competitors because it's going to help their bottom line. I think in the next 2 weeks we will see, because I don't know when the actual day for them to start paying the shareholders is, but I know it's in September. I think in the next 2 weeks we're going to see Paramount Skydance basically pull out all the stops when it comes to trying to get, because I believe trying to get things done their way, because I believe the court date is set for next May, March. It is March. The trial is scheduled for March. You can see that in the video right here. I swear to God, New York Times. Look, you're pissing me off. All these pop-ups, these in New York Times pop-ups. Oh, hey, why don't you switch to the family plan? I don't want to. I already asked my mom and she said no. That's very true. I said, do you want me to pay for the family plan so that you can play Sudoku and crossword and spelling bee and all that? And she was like, no. Just straight up no. And look, if I had a wife, I'd be like, let's pay for the family plan. That way we could play crossword together. Oh, my God. We wouldn't expect. I mean, I wouldn't expect anything less of Paramount in the next couple of weeks. David Ellison said that they would be moving the company out of California on October 1st. He apparently told senior executives this. So that threat was not empty apparently to him. That's so fucking dumb. And if it's true, if they would have to keep, according to that variety piece by Gene Mattis, if they do have to keep a substantial number of people in California to work, it's ridiculous. Okay, let's move on to the last story. This comes from The Wrap, and it's written by John Lafayette. I love Hamilton. Will Lionsgate be sold? Lionsgate, if you don't know, broke off. I believe Starz and Lionsgate separated within the last couple of years. Now Starz is its own company doing streaming things by itself. And you know what? I still think it's doing. I think just like AMC Plus and its conclave of like Shudder and IFC Films and all that stuff. AMC Plus and Starz and even MGM Plus. I think we need streaming platforms like that as a way for voices that aren't typically on television to have their own shows and movies. If you look at Starz and MGM Plus, it's a lot of Black and Latino things. And then for AMC Plus, Shudder, I think is just a fantastic thing. To have and AMC Plus also just grouping together all that AMC stuff. This is amazing. Anyway. But I do think that, we need to have those on top of having the Disney Pluses and the Netflixes, because you don't want everything to be in one place, because then you end up with Netflix where they can charge $28.99 and people still pay for it even though they complain about it. That's what's going to happen with GTA 6. GTA 6 is launching at $80. People are pre-ordering it no matter what. It's a digital game. It's ridiculous. $80? I have a couple of coupons I'm going to have to use to get that game down to a more reasonable $50 to the very least. But I have one, two, it doesn't matter how many coupons I have. I could get the game for free if I wanted with how many coupons I have, but it's whatever. $80 is insane. The same thing for Nintendo Switch 2 games. $80 for Mario Kart World? Ugh. Okay. Now, what's interesting about this idea that Lionsgate is trying to position itself to be sold is a fascinating one, because I do think Lionsgate puts out nice. Not if Spider-Man Brand New Day is blockbuster, and if what's the new Matthew McConaughey movie, Amazia King, the Legend of Amziah King, you can tell that I'm trying to decide to see a movie tonight. And truth be told, Spider-Man might be the one I go to. It's very true. I didn't know what the Legend of the Amziah King. It's Kurt Russell and Matthew McConaughey. I don't know what and it's classified as a thriller. I watched it. I watched the trailer. It's a drama. But anyway, it stars a lot of Indian people, which is great. Native American people. So I can't wait to watch it. But the earliest showing for the evening is at 7:30, and Daddy needs to be in bed by 9:15 because I am tired. So I'm probably going to go see Spider-Man at 6 p.m. And I want to get out. I want to go take my bike and go see a movie and then come home and go to bed. Anyway. The story of Lionsgate being acquired has had many sequels. Has had as many sequels as John Wick. You don't need to editorialize this; just report the news. This week, this is a story from last week. A new chapter emerged amid reports that Anson Funds, which owns 6.1 million Lionsgate shares, is urging the studio to sell. It seems like Anson Funds is acting like a sort of activist investor, saying sell, so that we can have more profit. It appears that Lionsgate only has a market cap of $3.5 billion, which is, again, nothing. Remember, Warner Brothers is looking to be purchased for $111 billion, something dollars like that. As I previously mentioned, and the rumors that someone's looking to buy it seem to come up every 6 months. Who would buy Lionsgate? Again, I think we need these middle of the road studios, a lot like. And I know I'm about to say a studio that is owned by Disney, but Focus Features. That is a 20th property, I believe, which was absorbed by Disney. But they put out not blockbuster movies. Neon puts out not blockbuster movies. Oh, God. I just watched Cold Storage. And what is their Cold Storage? And you know what? I liked it a lot. Studio Canal. What's the really religious one? Angelfish? What the fuck is that called? Angel Studios. They're not really religious, but 90% of the movies they put out have been about Jesus. Angel Studios. I believe they have a new a movie with like young Washington. Come on, man. That is that is a right-wing movie. Runner's the new movie that's coming out with Alan Richardson and Owen Wilson, and it's an action comedy, but also I think it's just so funny that movie, Solo Mio, which is the Kevin James rom-com, and it's like those two movies, they're sandwiched between Sound of Freedom, His Only Son, After Death. All these Christian movies. Anyway. So here are three things Eric Clark, portfolio manager of Logo ETF, a fund that focuses on consumption, including the experience economy. Here's what this is a newsletter, so I guess this is what John Lafayette suggests. Lionsgate has a scaled movie and TV studio, and is one of the few independent ones still left standing. Lionsgate put out the movie Michael, and Michael helped Lionsgate have its strongest quarter. I believe Michael grossed over $1 billion and is the first biopic to do so. One analyst boosted his revenue forecast for Lionsgate in 2027, but reduced his earnings per share expectations. And plenty of studios, from rival studios to tech companies, could be a suitor for Lionsgate. One fund manager sees Netflix as the best fit. I don't think Netflix is in the business to acquire Lionsgate. However, when you say a tech company, I do think Apple would be better suited for Lionsgate. Apple would definitely fit in with the movies they put out in terms of like the Hunger Games movies. That'd be an excellent thing for them to have. But also, I don't think Apple is in any case wanting to do that. You'll remember that Amazon bought MGM, and that's, they saved MGM from basically going under. But also, would MGM have gone under? I don't know. Maybe. MGM is one of the oldest studios, and for what it's worth, they're putting the MGM logo on movies that they put out alongside the Amazon logo. So is it working? Maybe. What's the last thing MGM put out? Let's see. Film Library. You can tell I'm sick of this. 2020 to 2029. All right, let's see what the last thing they put out was. Masters of the Universe. This movie I enjoyed. And international distribution was held by Sony Pictures Releasing International. They also did Project Hail Mary, The Wrecking Crew. Both movies I enjoyed. What's Mercy? What is that? Oh, yeah. The movie with Chris Pratt and Rebecca Ferguson. I was going to see that in theaters, and I did not get a chance to. And then when it released on Amazon, I watched it while cycling on a Saturday morning. And quite frankly, I enjoyed it. Oh, Blink Twice. Challengers. Yeah, so they've had very successful movies. And then they even put out just streaming movies like Roadhouse, the Roadhouse remake, and they're coming out with a Roadhouse 2. Yeah, so they've had they're working on Legally Blonde 3, another Poltergeist, a Polly Pocket movie. Jesus Christ! Well, Hasbro, they really gotta dig in. Like, okay, we made $1 billion on Barbie. Let's do a Hot Wheels movie. Okay, so the cars shrink down, and then John Cena pulls one out and he throws it, and it becomes a big car. And now we can do Polly Pocket, a toy no one remembers. There's a new Tomb Raider. There's a Chitty Bang Bang remake. We're good. There's a Pink Panther remake. We're good. Ugh, and then the James Bond where they for sure said, we're not doing a colored James Bond at all. We're going to put the most bland white man in this role. Oh, no, but he'll be muscular. That's okay. So, if they do sell off, I think the idea is a good one, but I think Lionsgate should hold on to itself, to as much of itself as it possibly can. But now we're in this world where who knows if movies and TV shows are getting made. And right now I think it is best for Lionsgate to continue to team up with other studios to help distribute its movies so that it can continue to do what it does, because not I'm trying to put this in a way that my brain is not allowing it to come out. Not every studio needs to be bought, and not every studio can be as big as its competition. Like, look at musicians. Taylor Swift is huge. Phoebe Bridgers is big, but she's not as big as Taylor Swift. Both of those women are bigger than Tyla. All three of those women are bigger than Fiona Apple. So there you go. Look at me pulling 4 amazing singers. 4 amazing women who make great music. Now, was Fiona Apple the first one I thought of for to have that 4th slot? No, she was not. Can I remember the other one? Sure can't. All right, listen, we're done. If you like what you heard here, head to the website cpluscomedy.com, where you can see me talk to some of your favorite celebrities. Not the one that missed our call time. If you want to see a video version of this show, go to youtube.com/cpluscomedy, where you can see a video version of the interviews, under the interviews, as well as the other podcasts, Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show, and the Constitutionals, the entertainment business news show. Subscribe to those podcasts wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on social media at C Plus Comedy on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. Follow me on those platforms at Chad Black White. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.